On the tropical island base of International Rescue, the storm had ceased as suddenly as it had begun, and the sun was blazing from a cloudless sky. Virgil and Gordon were down on the patio, clearing away the debris of the wind-torn palms. Jeff, watching them from the lounge window, turned eagerly as John's voice sounded over the intercom.
Base from space station. Alan wants to speak to you, Dad.
Okay, put him through, son.
Scott's on location, Father. He figures there's an outside chance of saving that guy if you can get the mole to us in 3 hours.
3 hours? That's a tall order, son. It isn't as if we had a space freighter in the organization. But I'll contact LMC headquarters and see what they can do. Stand by. This is International Rescue calling LMC HQ. We need a space freighter to ship some of our equipment to the moon. Is this possible?
Roger, International Rescue. We have a fueled and ready space freighter at our Australian launch base in Woolloomooroo.
How soon can it reach the moon?
1 hour. It's our latest robot-controlled ion drive ship. How soon can you get your machine to Woolloomooroo?
We can reach Woolloomooroo approximately 90 minutes after launching. That leaves a similar margin to get that guy out. It might just be enough. Okay, tell him to stand by at Woolloomooroo. We're on our way. Virgil, launch Thunderbird 2. Take the mole to the LMC base at Woolloomooroo. A space freighter's standing by to blast you off to the moon. Scott will brief you when you get there.
FAB, Father.
Excuse me, Mr. Tracy.
Well, Brains, any suggestions?
Yes, Mr. Tracy. Maybe I better accompany Virgil. If any adjustment should be needed to the mole when it arrives to adapt it to lunar conditions.
Sure. Get cracking, Brains. Even a minute's delay might make the difference between life and death to that guy trapped up there. Gordon, you go along and take charge of Thunderbird 2 while Virgil and Brains are in space. We don't want to leave it unguarded at Woolloomooroo for snoopers to try and steal its secrets. On your way, Virgil.
Be seeing you. The picture rotated vertically, bringing his feet up, and then he swung out of sight. The picture then pivoted upright once more, sealing the opening in the wall, so that to the casual observer the room appeared just as it was before. Behind the panel, Virgil hurtled on his back, head first down a chute. At the bottom of the initial slope he was checked. A section of the chute broke and swung like a locomotive turntable, and then he hurtled on, feet first. Seconds later he shot through the roof of the vast hangar, hollowed out of the cliff below the house, and into the open hatch above the cabin of Thunderbird 2. It was standing on its hydraulic stilts above the conveyor belt, which carried the 6 pods containing the underwater craft Thunderbird 4 and various other ingenious pieces of rescue equipment which Brains had invented. As Virgil landed in the pilot seat which terminated the chute, he touched a switch. The conveyor belt moved to the left, and the huge craft settled down on its stilts over one of the pods, like a broody hen on an egg it was about to hatch. With a succession of clunking sounds, the pod was locked into position in the fuselage and became an integral part of the rocket plane. Virgil heard Brains and Gordon arrive on the passenger elevator and take their seats behind him. The massive door of the hangar slid down and sunlight flooded in. Slowly, the great aircraft rolled forward on the wheels of the pod. Standing at the lounge window with Grandma and Carano, Jeff Tracy watched Thunderbird 2 emerge from the hangar onto the palm-flanked runway leading towards the glistening ocean. The palms angled outwards automatically to allow the huge wings to pass. Presently it stopped, and the section of the runway on which it stood tilted skywards to form a launch ramp. Behind its tail a blast pad rose. The powerful motors whined, and then, with a roar of exploding gases, flame and smoke gushed from the rocket vents, and Thunderbird 2 streaked up the ramp. With a sigh, Jeff turned away to his desk.
Well, there they go.
You're worried, Jeff? All tied up.
Sure. I'm always tied up when the boys take off any place. I was always tied up when I took off myself. Especially on that first trip to the moon. I guess it's something you just can't grow out of.
Altitude 2,500 feet. Setting course for destination at maximum speed of 5,000 miles an hour.
FAB. Check when you land at Woolloomooroo. Give my regards to Scott and the others up there.
You know something, Jeff?
What?
You've got most of your organization tied up in this operation to try to save one guy 250,000 miles away. If anything goes wrong...
Sure. I know it might be curtains for international rescue. But that's a risk we always have to take. It's what we exist for, Mother. To take risks for others. Let's hope we don't get another call before they get back. Carano. What's wrong?
I have a strange feeling, Mr. Tracy. I fear that something is going to happen. Something that will bring great danger to all of us, perhaps.